Marissa Lott. I am with Weichert Realtors. Today I have Jon DeKoninck with me again, and we are going to start a mini series on selling pro tips. Today we are going to just talk about the steps to get your house listed.
Yeah, so Marissa had asked me to join this video with her, mainly because most people who are selling typically need to purchase something, and not always do they have the full amount to put down, and so they tend to get a mortgage for that remaining amount, right? And so there's a little bit of value in having a lender being a part of your home selling process, so that way you don't end up homeless.
Yes, well, it's definitely an important part to have your lender in the beginning stages, so you just know moving forward, you know, what your budget is, what your loan type is, what houses you can be seeing, and you know, that's exactly what we need a lender for, even when you don't own a house regardless. So so basically your first steps in home selling, you will have a one-on-one consultation with your real estate agent, and that one-on-one consultation will give you a couple things. It'll tell you what your home is worth and what it could be sold at, and your listing agent will give you some different strategies. Okay, we can go the competitive approach, or if you had just a dollar sign in mind and you just had this one price, obviously your listing agent is just going to advise you what to do, but you guys can talk about that at your consultation. They will also be able to give you a price on, dependent on what you do list it for, how much you should estimate on receiving as your net profit from that sale. So that is your first step, because you will kind of want to know what you are going to bring from the sale when you do talk to your lender.
Yeah, it's super helpful for when Marissa sends somebody my way. She'll say, hey, Jon, my client should net, let's say, $50,000 from the sale of this house. And so then I have $50,000 as a number that I can either use as if we're going contingent on the sale of the house. I know that we're going to have $50,000 that we can talk about working with towards the down payment of the next house. It makes all of the difference.
All of the difference, yes. That way he knows, okay, this is going to be, like he just said, your down payment, or you can use, if depending on the ratios and all that stuff, price, or you could use, maybe just 30 of that, and the 20 can be, your reserves, or whatever the case may be. Every situation is different, but
it does allow us to change and talk more in depth about different loan programs. Mm-hmm. So when we're doing a buyer consultation, we don't always we're gathering a bunch of information and gathering a bunch of knowledge of what the client has going on in their life. Mm-hmm. And then it's a matter of saying, okay, client, you fit into these different loan programs. At the end of the day, which one fits their needs the best?
And so financially,
setting them up for success.
Really, after that, your next step, once you have that idea of after you talk to your lender and getting everything squared away, I think the most important part, which you can even talk about this, is getting that to underwriting.
Yes.
Yeah.
My team is really adamant about getting all of your documents, and the reason is because we don't want your loan to blow up. We want to catch any problems before they become an issue. Mm-hmm. And it allows us to prep for the next step. And I love having an underwriter get in there and sign off on a document or on a situation and saying, we believe that this is going to be fine, and we expect that as long as you get a property in front of us, that's all we need in order to close this loan, and title, not to mention title. Now, one of the things I do want to mention is it still can go south. Mm-hmm. Life happens, and people are human, and people can make mistakes, but I would rather do the due diligence to ensure that we've done as much as we can to prevent any problems from coming up, because at the end of the day, the last thing I ever want my clients to be is homeless.
Right, because you don't want to go in a situation where you have talked to a lender who a lot of lenders don't actually get their clients pre-approved. So you talk to a lender, they do, whether it's a pre-qualification or just a pre-approval with just running your credit, whatever it is, and then we start, we list your house, and then you go, your house is under contract, and then we start writing offers on your next house that you want to buy, and then something happens where you can't buy anymore. Of course, you could still sell, but we don't. As a seller, I wouldn't want to have to be in that situation where like, oh my goodness, I have to, maybe find somewhere to rent. I have to, back out of the sale of my house, even though, these buyers have put in, money for inspection, appraisal, whatever it is. So it's really important, Jon does that to get their client, our clients pre-underwritten, and it saves a lot of headache for potential problems. So.
And it also tends to make the deal go quicker.
It does.
And I mean, there's those pieces of like their home selling if they're waiting on their home to sell, but I'd rather be clear to close, waiting on funds, than at versus being the one that everybody's waiting on.
That's another good point too. Like you said, it's once you are pre-underwritten, then if come appraisal time, if you get your appraisal back, typically it's shortly after that you can close, whereas if not, that's when the other lenders start getting all the remaining documents and catching up, and that's where things can kind of you're extending your close date, and people get frustrated at that point. So a lot less of a headache when it's done up front.
100%.
Once that's taken care of, when you are getting ready to sell your house, after that you talk about scheduling your listing photos. Again, your real estate agent will talk to you one-on-one on what to do to get your house presentable, like declutter, less is more kind of rule of thumb. But once you do that, then you schedule your listing photos. Your photos are typically paid for by your real estate agent, at least mine are. I pay for my clients, and you get your house listed, and after that, it's as long as it's priced right, it's a wrap. So
there's so many moving pieces, and that's one thing I love about this industry, and I love about how you take care of your clients, or you really give them the knowledge of what's upcoming, and you set the expectation. And like we said, like there's things that change all the time, but at least you give people the foundation. So
the knowledge, just what to expect. Even worst case scenario, like I know you do that too. Jon will call me and be like, hey, just so you know, this could happen, but if it doesn't, we're good. So like I'm the same with with my clients, like this offer has this, or whatever it may be in the real estate world. Worst case scenario, this is what might happen, but we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that doesn't. Very important, especially when selling. What could not happen or what could happen. So.
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Marissa. Marissa's definitely got all of I feel like you have almost every answer for people when they go to sell. And if not, you do know where to go.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
If you have lending questions, if you're interested about getting pre-approved, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'll put my information in the comment section below, and we'd love to chat. Till then, everyone, have an amazing day, and happy selling.
Happy selling, and we'll see you next week for more selling pro tips.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See ya.